I'm the creative technologist at DTDigital, and it's a new role for me and it's a big challenge for me, and I'm so far really enjoying the context that I'm working in. Today I'm talking about Smart Flux. Smart Flux for me, I will explain a bit later. There are a few things which I want to come out of this talk, and partly what we're seeing today is kind of it's mobile, and we're all focusing on the device. And my thought is that maybe it's worth thinking about, a bit of stuff outside of the device. So let's think about what is mobile. Maybe it's us. Maybe we're the things that make mobile. We take them to bed with us. Every speaker's said this. That the mobile comes everywhere with us. We mark our place in the world with these things, with geolocations. Smart Flux is a term that I've kind of used to sort of inspire a bit of thinking about how information passes back and forth between the world and the web. Because essentially with the NFC stuff, it's not all just in the web, it's going to become in-store retail experiences, and it's going to become much more involved in the real space and not just through the phone. So we're going to be interacting with experiential experiences. If brands want to have an impact, they need to be aware that once their information is out there, once they're making brand statements, it's going to be in constant flux between all the channels, social media, internet, and all these things. It's a sunny day outside, so you can't see so much of this. But essentially, this represents the myriad of touch points that consumers will enter into in their experience through a brand or a product journey. And many of these things, such as interactive prints, all these things, as we've seen today, the print, it's been augmented by the technologies that we've got. The iPhone is a part of the print ad now, so it's not only have we got new technologies, but we're augmenting the old technologies with the new ones. And rather than thinking of mobile devices as mobile devices, I like to think of them as a nexus between the web and the real space, because that's essentially what they are and what they will become. They're going to become the point that people go into the world's virtual space and bring information out into the real space. So I like the word nexus more than mobile, because they are mobile. Experiential, for those who don't, most people know what experiential marketing and media is, but for this context, I want to talk about experiential media as something that mostly exists outside of the browser and the smartphone. And I want to make 5 points with 5 examples of why experiential media is a little bit different to our traditional mediums. Experiential media is actionable. By actionable, I mean it affords a real-time functional transaction between people, brand, and product. This is a case study, or it's an example from Hyper Island, where it's an interactive visual merchandising display. Passers-by on the street will walk past and they can interact with a high-definition video and scrub back and forth and engage with the product and the marketing, and then go in-store and then go and buy the product. So I'll give a quick video. I won't play it too long, but just enough so you get the idea. So the engagement with this media is much longer than a normal sort of interactive visual merchandising experience. It sort of also leads into this next point that I want to make about experiential media and mobile media, is this social validation. people standing out on the street doing this and all that sort of stuff is just kind of, once you build a crowd around it, it has this sort of busking effect where people are standing around watching people do ridiculous things. Gestural, and the connect is, making people do silly things. This is an example from Germany. It seems very German too, where it's another Foursquare example where you check into the billboard, and the billboard will dispense some dog food for your dog, so your dog can try the new snack and validate. It's not very social, but and also this sort of out of context, this fusion between real space and web is opening up a new context and a new audience. This is an example of a real-time 3D projection mapping in London by Ralph Lauren, and most people would probably have seen some of this, but I'll give a quick example because they've done a really good job in this case. So this guy's 10 meters tall. He's huge, he's massive, and they're able to dynamically change the set and really play with the scale of things and reach a whole new audience. Or there's a lot of flashes going off, so there's obviously people there. Yeah, so you get the idea. It's pretty wild stuff. I don't know how much has happened in Australia, but in Europe it's pretty popular, and it's also one of those things which you kind of have to see to really believe. It's easy to watch it, and there's this kind of stereoscopic thing that humans have where you can only see, things in 2D, but when you're really there, it's pretty believable. The fourth point is Flux. It's that intersection, it's really between the web and the real space. And this is an example from Mini, to advertise the new Mini Countryman. It came across my path a few days ago, actually. It's a beautiful example of where the real space and the virtual spaces exist, and how your brands can kind of exist in both. So the idea of this game was that you download this app, you have a week. For a week, there's an imaginary Mini in the city. And you have to get within 50 meters of it, and when you're within 50 meters of it, you can take it. So the blue button there, which is written in Swedish, means take the Mini. So the Mini didn't exist, it's virtual. So once you had the Mini, someone could come up and take it from you, so you had to run away from people. I'll show you the case study. It's a really nice idea. Cool. So that was a really great game example, and yeah, it's been a while since I've seen a really good gaming example of people running around the streets with their mobile in their hands. Some people are in on it, some people aren't in on it. It's great. The final thing that I think experiential media has to offer marketers and brands is new metrics. This is the picture is an example of a software which was developed at the Fraunhofer Institute in Germany, And it's biometric, so it gives you the sense of, it gives you an estimation of how old people are, their sex, if they're happy, if they're sad, they're surprised, and it's incredibly precise. Or maybe the age is a bit out, but it can definitely tell me if I'm smiling, and whether that's from anxiety or from being happy, I don't know. Yeah, but this software was used in a project from Honda, which was created by DTDigital, and one of the things that was quite powerful about this was the metrics. The Honda Dream Wall. I don't know who's heard about it here. I know Koreans in the audience. I guess you've heard of this. But one of the few big statistics that came out of this were this big wall was exhibited at the Australian Motor Show in Sydney, and it had captured 35,976 unique faces, and it captured 80,000 smiles that started dreams. I'll show you the case study after this, but basically that's a metric you can't really get any other way but through sort of computer vision and all this stuff that's sort of automatically grabbing this thing. And it's a passive thing too as well. You're not going out to people and saying, did you smile and start a dream? 80,000 times. It's not possible. So computers are just mind-blowing sometimes. But here's the case study. Slowly fade out by taking the mic away. So I think you get the idea. This was quite a bold project, and it was super well received. It created a lot of attention after the event itself in blogs and in social media, as it's showing here. And it's one of those things that sort of perpetuates itself. Another thing that's with mobile devices is going to come into in the next few years is the idea of device shifting, and it's the idea of shifting media between devices. So the more devices we have, as soon as we start all having tablets and an iPhone and a laptop and a TV that's connected to the internet, how do we transfer information between all these devices? And we do it through device shifting. The idea is that what I propose is that brands and marketing can really use this idea of sort of not see it as a negative thing or a difficult thing, see it as something that people can engage and use, or to use to engage people. Clumsy. This was a fantastic example of device shifting. It's from the MIT Media Lab, the Fluid Interfaces Lab, where you have a device, you take your finger, and you swipe your finger across some text or an image or something like that. You store the piece of data in your finger, and then you take it to another device, and then you rub it. If it's a phone number, you rub it on the phone, and then it sends that from your finger into the phone and then dials a number. And this sounds almost impossible, but it's a reality now. It happens with applications. It uses the same concept. There's applications like the bump on the mobile phone. Does everyone know this program, this application? It's basically two people have the same applications, and when you go, I want to send someone a picture, you go like that, bump, and it detects the event. All this happens in Sprush through the cloud. So it's all about events and all this sort of stuff. It's not actually getting stored in your body, it's just conceptually stored in your body. So all these sorts of experiences are going to be really amazing, especially in the future when you think you've got a picture you shouldn't have stuck in your finger. Yeah. Gamification is huge. Yeah, it's going to be, as we saw with the mini Stockholm example. It's a beautiful example. People enjoy it. People engage with games. It's going to accelerate the way we engage with media, and make it a lot more fun for people to engage with media. And one of the reasons for this is the states that we've gone through in our evolution. Rather than use the typical ape man from, when he stood up to going into when he crouched down on the computer, I'm going to propose a different system or a different graphic without showing the cliche graphic. Homo erectus, the man who stood up. Homo faber, the man who started making tools. Homo sapien, the man who started thinking. And then Homo ludens, which is the playful man. A lot of our culture comes from play. If you think about it, religion, wars, lots of things come through play, through this idea of ceremony, this idea of kind of, two guys walking out into a battlefield while whole armies stand on each side of the battlefield waiting for these guys to talk. It's all ceremony, it's all play. The We Fit, all this stuff, it's playful, but it's fitness, So let's think about a new model of the evolution of humans and bring that into mobile. Let's experiment, let's be playful, and it's all going to be fun, exciting. Thanks.